This is the plaintiff, Neil Gordon. He says he brought his computer to the defendant's shop to have it repaired. And when he went to pick it up, it wasn't fixed at all. And he complained the defendant told him it would cost him an additional $75 to get it running right. And there was no way he was going to pay the guy twice for the work that should have been completed the first time. When he refused, the defendant jumped out of his wheelchair, grabbed his computer, still has it, and that's why he's suing for $250, the value of his stolen property. This is the defendant, Jose Olivo. He says the plaintiff is a little off his rocker because when he came in to pick his computer up, he accused him of planting a bug in it. That's right, the paranoid guy thinks he implanted some sort of device to track him and listen in on his phone calls. Meanwhile, the guy never paid him for the repairs he performed, and if anyone here is owed money, it's him. He's accused of crashing on a customer. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $105, the cost of his services.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff brought his computer to the defendant's store for repair, but claims the defendant tried to chisel him. Now, the defendant says the plaintiff is paranoid, accusing him of planting a bug in the computer. It's the case of don't bug
Douglas,
me.
okay, Neil Gordon, you are suing Jose Olivo for $250, the value of a computer that you say he refuses to return to you. You are counterclaiming against him the cost of your services to fix the computer, which is why you won't return it to him, which you say is $105. Okay, let me hear from you first.
Sure. I brought my computer to Mr. Olivo on November 26th, and I had dropped it off, and then
How did you find him?
Actually, and I was going to say, on Craigslist, I read his ad, and it looked as though he wanted to start a business up, so I went, thinking that would be, a good way to help him out.
What was wrong with your computer? Oh,
it was just real slow.
What was wrong with your computer?
It was just real slow. It just needed to be cleaned out a little bit.
What is cleaned out a little bit?
Files probably organized in there, and just to make it speed up a little bit.
Just organize the files. Why don't you just do that yourself?
Don't really know how.
Okay.
Yeah, I really don't.
Okay.
So anyhow, we had agreed before that to stop at $20.
$20?
Yeah, because...
What are you going to get done for $20?
Actually, you know what? There's a place near me that'll do it for $40, and that's a reputable big company. I also went with a friend, and then when
you went to pick up your computer.
I went to pick it up. Mr. Olivo tried to show me that it was okay, but he said that we have to go to Tim Hortons because he didn't have computer access or wireless or anything to do it.
You mean internet access?
Internet access.
Okay.
So I thought that was kind of ridiculous because it was slower.
How does a guy whose job it is to fix computers not have internet access?
Well,
My parents have internet access. They're 90. Seriously, that's...
Well, I'm actually disabled right now. I got hit by a car about a year ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And I've been struggling with that. But I did have internet access, but just not at the time.
All right. So what was the agreement that you and Mr. Gordon had about fixing his computer?
Well, it was definitely not $20. He told me that he only paid $20 for the computer, so he should not need to pay any more than that. And that was after I left him a voicemail telling him the price.
What was the agreement beforehand?
There was no actual agreement.
And then you left him a voicemail telling him the price after you did the work?
Well, I told him I had to assess the situation on his computer.
And what was the situation? What did you do?
I cleaned it out and
What does that mean?
I deprogrammed some programs.
What does that mean?
Software.
You mean delete programs?
I deleted it and I went in the hard drive in certain areas where you can still find the program.
And deleted it from there too? Because that's what, you can't just delete the icon, you have to delete the actual program,
yes,
right?
you have
And
to
what
go
else
through
did you do?
several locations on the computer to delete it. and I also ran a virus protection program on it, and it found several viruses and corrupt files, which made the computer slower.
And then what happened?
It said that there was viruses attached to the Windows installation folder, so I had to reinstall Windows on the computer.
And then, so you leave him a voicemail saying that'll be $75.
Yes.
And he, does he call you or does he just come?
We talked over the phone.
And did he mention anything about the price then?
No, he agreed on it. He said it was okay.
So what made him change his mind when he got there?
I do not know, because he did not argue with me at all about it.
Did he test it and not think it was running faster?
I turned on the computer and showed him that it runs perfectly fine.
Okay.
Because there's nothing on the computer anymore. It's just the Windows software.
And that's it? There's no files anymore?
Nothing.
So you took off, he didn't have any documents?
There was documents and stuff, but he said that the computer wasn't originally his, and he
So
didn't
just to
care
get rid of
for it.
everything?
Yes.
All right, so you get there and you try, do you ever say anything on the phone to him about the price?
I said with him, stop at $20.
Yeah, but then how did you know he had stopped? How did you know you could pick up your computer?
Well, because I figured that if I go there, I would go with a $20 bill saying we had agreed to stop at $20.
Except that what happened is that you go there, and then he tells you it's $75. You turn it on, you don't think it's faster, and then you drop a 5 on the table.
Correct.
Not a 20, a 5.
Absolutely.
And then you pick up the computer, and what do?
I started walking down the corridor, and at that time, he was in a wheelchair, and he got out of the wheelchair and ran faster than I could to the door, and then ripped it out of my arms.
So you're indignant that the man in a wheelchair was when you tried to snatch the computer without paying from the man, you weren't able to get away with it because the guy in the wheelchair is a fraud and could actually walk and get the computer back from you.
Okay.
Do you think repair shops snoop around in somebody's computer?
I think they probably do, but they probably shouldn't do that since it would be against the law.
Okay, I'll try it a different way. Would it bother you if somebody snooped in your computer?
Oh, absolutely.
Why?
Because I don't want them to see what I've been looking at.
I'll stop asking. Going inside the courtroom.
Is this his computer?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I had not paid $20 for that, as the defendant had said.
How'd you get the computer?
I was a special ed teacher. I just retired, and I bought it from a student's parent.
How much did you pay for it?
$70.
You know what I think? I think that you guys maybe didn't settle on a price beforehand. I don't believe you told the guy, I'll just stop at 20, because that wouldn't solve your problem. Do you think $20 is going to buy you a whole lot of, the guy, you understand that the guy took off all the files from the other parent that they didn't take off.
Right.
That he took off all the programs that was, because that stuff does take up the time of the computer when you're trying to get from point A to B. It's doing stuff. That's slowing it down. So he took all that stuff out. How would that be?
Because when he went to start it, it was slower than when I had started.
Okay.
So.
All right, so here's where we are. I have you two who I think didn't really have a meeting of the minds as to what the work would cost. I have the computer being held hostage by Mr. Olivo because he feels he's entitled. Now, you had told him $75, so why are you suing for $105 in your counterclaim now?
I gave him a discount for bringing a person there, and
that person's unhappy too, right?
the only thing that she was unhappy about was that her computer didn't turn on, and she did not tell me anything that was wrong with her hardware problems. She told me that she had just received this computer herself.
Okay, but did you fix that lady's computer?
I fixed the software issues, yes, and she would have seen it on if they came.
It did turn on when she dropped it off with you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But I didn't have a charger for her computer either. She didn't bring the charger.
Dead? It's like Mo, Curly, and Larry. You people should not get near computers, I think. Honest to God, you don't have internet and you don't have a charger. She doesn't bring a charger. You can't test it. So it's not that it doesn't turn on, but it's that it's dead.
It could have been a battery issue or a battery connection issue.
Do me a favor. Take the computer, hand it over to him. I'm ordering you to pay him $50 for his time. That's my judgment on your counterclaims. Well, that is my net judgment to you is $50 for your time, and you can go ahead and give the computer to him. That's my judgment.
Well, let's talk to the defendant here coming out of the courtroom. Step on in. The case is over now, and what's your feeling on the outcome first?
Well, I was a little confused why he was suing me in the first place, since he was the one that didn't pay me anything.
How's the business going?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah, seems like it was a little mixed up there in this one deal.
Well, yeah, that's like the second time it happened. The first time it happened because I kind of
All right,
let it happen.
Get it straight next time.
Yeah.
Head right down there. Be a little more careful with the customers here, all right? And you too, come on in here and why don't you get a little bit better understanding of what your deal is?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was just a real good vehicle to learn a little bit more about Craigslist and to be careful who you hire on Craigslist. So this is kind of a way to just take care of that, because I think this was kind of a scam.
What do you think, Harvey?
Okay, Kurt, look, when you get your computer back from a repair shop, you should spend a few minutes, test it out, and make sure everything works right before you leave the store.